Apparently the people over at Meta still know I exist, because guess what? They sent me this bad boy to tell you guys all about it. This is the Meta Quest 3S. Right now, probably the best and most affordable way to jump into virtual reality. Let's take a closer look. Right off the bat, I should point this out. This part right here, the part that goes actually all around your head, this part is not by Meta. This is the Bobo, whatever it's actually called, the Bobo VR head strap. Yeah, that's quite self-explanatory, I guess. This is not only more comfortable, but it also allows you to plug in a battery right at the back here and thus extend your Okay, well, what was I saying again? Thus, making you able to extend your gameplay sessions. I will say, as a VR fanatic, it was quite annoying having to game before this thing, because the battery on the Quest is not something I would consider its strongest suit. So for that reason, gameplay sessions were pretty limited. Hey, my light just finished charging. Let's fancy this up back here. Check this out. I learned this on Instagram. So apparently, if I do this, it's supposed to make it look kind of nice. Does it? I don't know. You tell me. I think it looks nice. Where was I? Right. Meta Quest 3S. As I was saying, Bobo VR, not sponsored, but it's a decent product. I have it for all my headsets. It is more comfortable and it lets you play longer. What's not to love, right? Anyway, as I was saying. Now, the Quest 3S will not be interesting for someone who already has the Quest 3. Now, that group includes me, but I've always been of the opinion that if you're able to afford it, it's really interesting to have more than one headset, because that allows you to bring your friends and family into VR with you. And these things are finally affordable enough that a person having a couple of them isn't really that outrageous. Like my Quest 3 plus a Quest 3S would still have been cheaper than my iPhone, right? So we're not talking spending millions here, right? I know that this isn't really practical for everybody. I do get that. And it's very easy for me to talk considering they sent me one for free. But you know what I'm getting at, right? Like, even before Meta was sending me stuff to review, I still loved the ability, because I had two Quest 1s as well. I loved the ability to go to my dad's house and play with my little siblings, right? So it's awesome. But as I was saying, if you're not a VR freak like me, who needs to have a VR headset for every member of his family because that's the only way they'll play VR with them, apparently, that's not true. My sister did get her own. She's addicted. Hi, Pri! She's completely addicted to VR chat. I should make another video about VR chat sometime. As I was saying, can you tell the VinVence hasn't kicked in yet? If you have a 3, this is not going to be an upgrade for you, but you probably already know that, right? This thing is a little bit cheaper for a good reason. The lenses are closer to what you would find on, hey, my aging Quest 2 is still here. Aging, indeed, check that out. This has seen some better days. It's still like the Quest that I have around for like guests and stuff like that. As I said, I love bringing my friend. I love going up to my old like high school. Now that I'm in Brazil, right? I'm bumping into like old high school friends and things like that. And I like going like, hey dude, remember Counter-Strike? Did you know it's actually a thing now? They can like play in VR and it feels like you're actually holding a gun and you have to reload and stuff like that. So having a couple comes in handy. But as I was saying, this is cheaper for a reason. I turned this thing back around. The lenses are closer to what you would find on the Quest 2. They are kind of slightly round-ish, right? Unlike the pancake lenses you will see in the Quest 3. They provide a clear image because you don't have the distortions that are an inherent problem with these more, curved lenses. And I can see it even from looking at it here. It's okay-ish, especially if you've never experienced the image quality on the Quest 3, right? This will not feel like if you're coming from the Quest 2 and then jumping into this, which I imagine will be most people's situation, this will look amazing, especially because of these guys right here. These are the new color pass-through. I forgot the word for camera for a moment there. They're amazing. This is what really ties this all together into a true replacement for the Quest 2. Now, instead of the janky-ass pass-through with those black and white, low-resolution, super grainy cameras, now you have something that is more like the experience you can find on the Quest 3. Really cool. I will say, it's interesting that Meta has made the other versions of the Quest 3 unavailable. You can only get the 512 gig model now, which from a commercial standpoint actually makes a lot of sense. they are positioning the Quest 3S as the entry model. So there's a lot more options to choose from, including a really affordable one, the cheapest one that you could find, and then the Quest 3 for the big spenders who want the absolute best they can get and the highest storage capacity. This is something that is interesting for me as a content creator because though I don't make as many VR videos as I probably should, I do end up capturing a lot of gameplay footage, and just today, or rather, yeah, I guess it was today, it was after midnight. Today, I guess technically a few hours ago, I got the dreaded notification that my system is running out of space. And by the way, thank you Meta for actually fixing this, because the system as it worked before was problematic to say the least. I guess they didn't account for VR super freaks who are recording everything they do to create content, because it used to be that you could completely load up the storage with video, and when that happened, the Android kernel that runs this whole show would completely break, forcing you to have to format the device. I'm not sure if I was the first person to report that to Meta. Definitely on Reddit, nobody else seemed to know what the I was talking about. So I guess if you're a content creator and your thing isn't like, you know, crapping the bed once you load it up with like sweet ass contractor kills, like it was my case, you're welcome is what I'm trying to say. So Meta fixed it. Now it lets you know that you're just about done with space, so then you can stop recording your sweet ass contractor kills to then clear up some space. What I'm saying is that I should have splurged for the 512 gig model, because I decided to make the worst decision possible, which is to save on space. And guess what? It always ends exactly like this, me regretting that decision. So what I'm trying to say is that I'll end up with a handful of these things, because now this is sweet, but I want a 512 gig Quest 3, especially because I play on this thing every single day with glasses. I finally managed to scratch like the right eye lens ever so slightly. It's not one of those deep gashes, right? So in theory, I could buy that stuff that I always see people talking about on the subreddit about. It's supposed to like help you buff out like minor little scratches like that. It just looks like it's, when I have it on, it feels like it's like slightly smudged, like and it's kind of in the middle, so it messes me up. But you know, that's what I get for having bad eyes, I suppose. It's all downside. It's all downside. Anyway, on a more personal note, anybody who knows me knows I am a massive VR freak. So something like this, an easy enough product and affordable enough product that you can just go to your nearest, electronics store and pick one of these up, and with very minimal setup time, be in the world of VR. Shooting your friends in the face, jumping into crazy worlds in VR chat, or just playing mini golf. Mini golf is incredibly fun in this thing. I'm not even a golf guy at all, and mini golf is super fun because it's all about just like hanging out with your buddies and just shooting the shit, it's fun. Anyway, that is the Meta Quest 3S. Great way to get into VR if you don't already have a Quest 3, or if you are like me and you wouldn't mind dropping a couple $100 to have your family and friends be able to join you in virtual reality. I suspect I'm not, like, I've been calling myself a VR freak trying to justify my need for multiple headsets, but I know a couple of people that have multiple headsets for this reason. So I guess it's not that weird, right? This is a whole new world, man. I love this. Video games have been stagnant and boring for a very long time, and this is the only thing in gaming that gets me excited. It's retro stuff and virtual reality, you see? So anyway, it's a beauty. Thank you, Meta. Thank you, everyone, for supporting my work. If you have any questions, let me know. I want to create more VR content, and this is the excuse I needed. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.